Is there a path for the Arizona Cardinals to beat Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams for the first time since Barack Obama was president of the United States? Alex and I believe there is. We're going to break it down for you, plus our full predictions and our players of the game on the offensive and defensive side of the football. It's happening. It's your Week 4 edition of the Locked On Cardinals podcast.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Oh, it's been way too dang long since the Arizona Cardinals beat the Los Angeles Rams. When that happened, Jeff, I'm not going effing 7-9 as their head coach. Bruce Arians was the Arizona Cardinals head coach, and it was a while ago. It was a lot of losses in between, but could it happen this weekend? Week 4, SoFi Stadium in LA. It's Bo Brack, Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals the first thing you tune into each and every day for your Cardinals information. Follow us on Twitter at LockedOnAZCards, at Clancy's Corner, at BOBRACK, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And this week, Alex, Rams fans invading our channel on YouTube are vying for the NFC West's most infamous fan group. That's the nicest way I can put it. Most annoying is also another way to put it.
I mean, that's 100% another way to put it. I mean, the 49ers are far and away. Yeah. Seahawks seem to be sweethearts, homers to the nth degree, but I mean, you got the D-bag zone in Northern California with the 49ers, and then the Rams. I mean, this elitist attitude where the team has been back for like 15 minutes and all these, fans are coming out of nowhere. Bring it, I guess. Yeah. They're Uncle Ricoing it to the nth degree. It's 34-0, 33-0, 37 years ago.
Right.
2018 was 33-0, right? Or 34-0. 2017 when Carson Palmer broke his arm or whatever at halftime in London was the other shutout. It's like,
the international incident as far as the Cardinals. That was a long time ago. That was 2 head coaches and 2 quarterbacks ago. This episode is brought to you by Run Your Pool. Check them out today. Get $10 off runyourpool.com/lockedon or use the promo code lockedon at checkout. That's all we'll say about the It's still, but it's fun. It's mixing it up. We like anybody commenting on it. And, look, and we're not drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, we still think that this is an uphill climb for the Arizona Cardinals in this game. It's on the road. I think that the edge goes there. And they haven't changed that narrative yet that Cliff Kingsbury can win the chess match between him and Sean McVay, which is very big in this contest.
Yeah. I mean, and it's going to come down to, can the Cardinals offensive line hold? And can the Cardinals defense keep Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, et cetera, in front of them? I mean, it seems so cliche. It's just, can the offensive line hold and can defense hold? It's like, but that's what it is. I mean, can the offensive line keep Aaron Donald out of the backfield? Can the offense maneuver around Jalen Ramsey? This is an LA star-studded roster on both sides of the ball, and it's big boy time for the Cardinals.
Yeah. We've got a full prediction of this game coming up, plus, who your offensive and defensive players of the game are going to be for the Arizona Cardinals. But, you look at this Rams roster and we poke fun at it. We did it in the NFC West breakdown, and Brian Peacock from Locked On Niners is like, yeah, they've got like 3 guys, but man, do they have the 3 guys at some key positions in today's NFL where you've got probably the corner that's playing at the highest level in the NFL right now. You've got Aaron Donald, who's probably the greatest football player on the planet. And then they found that missing piece in Matthew Stafford, where he's just slinging it. And Cooper Kupp, who is absolutely the best. It's like Wes Welker, Peyton Manning back in the days. That's the kind of thing that's going on with those two early on. I mean, they didn't even really need any time to kind of find that rapport beyond the preseason. So it's such a key matchup. We're going to look at some other key matchups, but it'd be interesting to see, what Vance Joseph is seeing as far as who he's going to pit up against Cooper Kupp. If they're going to go, Byron Murphy's just going to pick him up. And then who else is going to pick up Robert Woods? You've got Deshaun Watson, the guy over the top. This is a very daunting offense to take on. And then even if you can take the run game out of the equation, things don't get any easier.
Yeah, I mean, all Sean McVay is watching on tape of Marco Wilson, Isaiah Simmons, Zaven Collins, weak spots, and because they haven't played in the NFL for that long, what Kyle Shanahan did on the first or second line play from scrimmage to start the 2019 or 2020 season was go immediately after Isaiah Simmons, and then ended up in a 75-yard touchdown catch and run for Raheem Mostert. That's what the Cardinals' young players are going to have to grow up immediately at SoFi Stadium on Sunday, because Van Jefferson, whoever is lining alongside Marco Wilson, is going to eat or going to get a lot of targets because Marco Wilson's a rookie. Zaven Collins, Jordan Hicks is not what he once was speed-wise in coverage. So it's going to be the middle of the field that Sean McVay is going to go after, because that's what he does. You target the weaknesses, you leverage it, and you try and expound upon it, and we'll see if the young guys for this roster are up to the task.
Yeah, and which way would you rather go? Would you rather the stars in this game perform for Los Angeles, or would you rather like the more unsung guys, like the guys in that backfield that nobody's expecting too much from, the Sony Michel, who came over in a trade just before the season, Tyler Higbee, who, as you mentioned earlier this week, is a 4-letter word in the desert. Is it just that offensive line moving people around, or guys on that defense like last year? Thank God Troy Hill's no longer on this team. He picked off Kyler Murray for a pick 6 last year. What would you rather, if the Arizona Cardinals take an L this weekend, would you rather be like, well, we knew is it going to be Aaron Donald and he was going to make too much noise in the backfield for Kyler Murray to get anything done, or Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, or like, okay, we took their stars out of the game and they still were able to figure a way out?
You'd rather have the stars beat you.
Yeah.
Because if the stars don't beat you and other players do, that's taking a step backwards. I mean, and we'll talk about this later on the pod, obviously, but if this is a one-score game at the end of the game, it shows growth. And you need, there's no such thing as moral victories unless you're the Cardinals against the Rams and you're 0-8 in the last 8 matchups.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll show that Cliff Kingsbury's taking a step forward play calling wise. Vance Joseph is still able to maintain some sort of discipline and come up with things that opposing offenses aren't necessarily looking for. That Kyler Murray's not making that many mistakes. If it's a one-score game, especially if it's a low-scoring game, that will show a lot. Like, remember with Tennessee, the worst possible thing to happen would be the Cardinals lose 17-13. Where it's like the defense is working. The offense against this crapbox defense didn't. Luckily, that didn't happen. If this was like a 17-14 final or something like that, you'd take it 100 times out of 100. And obviously, you never want to lose, but shootouts can kind of get misconstrued. 37-34, just both defenses are, outmatched. But if you can win or be close in a tight, lower scoring game, that shows real growth. And obviously, you just hope they win. But I mean, The lesser of two evils is the former that I just said.
All right, we kind of vetted out our fears. Like, this was kind of therapeutic to sit here and like, oh God, this we mentioned all the big names and the daunting task of slowing down the offense and that big number 99 on defense, and now number 5 in the defensive secondary. The path to victory. We're not going to get to the full prediction, but there is a path to victory for the Arizona Cardinals, and we're going to get to it. Plus, those predictions are coming up. Plus, our Fast Friday, where we're going to, or Friday 5, where we're going to get into some, who am I calling Cowherd? There's no Fast Friday. We're going to get into our little betonline.ag, look at some odds and look at some smart bets come Sunday in week 4 for the Arizona Cardinals game. But let me tell you this. If you haven't tried the Get Upside app yet, I don't know what you're doing with yourself, because it's an incredible app for anybody who buys gas. They need to know about it. Get Upside. Our listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use the promo code TOUCHDOWN and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. So that's 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free. Use the promo code TOUCHDOWN. Get 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot, they're making upwards of $200, $300 a month cash back, and there's just no catch. The cash back gets added right to your account. You can cash out anytime, your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app. Use the promo code touchdown and get 50% per gallon cash back on your first tank. That's touchdown. That's the promo code on the Get Upside app. Bo Brack, Alex Clancy hanging out with you. Thanks for tuning in on YouTube or however you decide to tune into this podcast. If it's Apple Podcasts, I know there's a lot of you out there. Please review for us. Rate us. It does really wonders for us as far as getting us exposure and more people finding the podcast. We're just overwhelmed by people reaching out to us on social media at Locked On AZ Cards, at Clancy's Corner, and at BOBRACK. The good, the bad. We've got alligator skin. We can deal with whatever you have to say. And it's just, continuing this conversation about this team. We talk about the fears. I mean, we could be talking about a loss very easily come Monday. But I do think, Alex, that there's a path to victory for this Arizona Cardinals team. I don't know if you feel the same way. I think you do, because they're 3-0 for a reason. There's talent in that locker room. We felt that going into this season. And a team like the Los Angeles Rams, where the Cardinals were pretty even, especially record-wise last year, 10-6 versus 8-8, that they can take this game on the road. It would surprise a lot of people, but it's very, very possible.
Yeah. Main key to victory is score more points than the Rams. That's
everywhere, guys.
I mean, I feel like if we can watch that happen, they have a good chance of winning. Bold strategy, Cotton. This is on Kyler Murray's shoulders. It's Kyler Murray and the defense. Kyler he hasn't played well against the better teams. And what we saw last year, what the defense did with San Francisco and the Rams, and I know he was injured the last half of last season, the Rams game shouldn't have mattered because they should have taken care of business with CJ Beathard and the 49ers. This defense is good. And Kyler Murray is going to have a large man in his face, most likely a handful of times on Sunday. He cannot roll out and throw the ball into a linebacker's chest. He can't throw intercept. Like, they can't turn the ball over at all. So it's on Kyler, and it's being opportunistic on the defensive side of the ball. Because, I mean, Matty Staffs has an ego to where he tries to throw it in between three defenders at times, and you just have to be opportunistic. You can't be Robert Alford of last week, having an interception go through your hands, even though the Cardinals got the dub. I mean, it's not turning the ball over from Kyler Murray and being able to turn over the Rams, and I think that's going to be the key to victory.
We've seen Matthew Stafford play with a relatively clean pocket, and, how does he thrive? That's how it is. I mean, he's a guy that's not known for his mobility. He's not known for his athleticism. He's known for his right throwing arm. I mean, he's just a guy that can absolutely just chuck the football. It's beautiful to watch, even though, sometimes it's causing 6 points to go up on the board from the opposing team. But Matthew Stafford, at the same token, I think he's also cut from the same cloth as like the Carson Palmers of the NFL, where, they're the guys that from birth were destined to be NFL quarterbacks, just as far as their skill set. But with that, you can make them very uncomfortable. When you make them uncomfortable, you can make them look very pedestrian to below average. That's why you pay all this money to Chandler Jones. That's why you pay all this money to J.J. Watt. And people are saying, well, where are all the sacks from J.J. Watt? Where is J.J. Watt sacks? If you watch the game against Trevor Lawrence, it was J.J. Watt making Trevor Lawrence really, really uncomfortable, making him backpedal, throw when he didn't want to throw the football, threw it right into the arms of Byron Murphy. That was J.J. Watt. If they can do that, if they can get to Matthew Stafford and make his life a living hell, I think that's going to make the defensive secondary's job a lot easier, and putting hats on all these other receivers, all the receivers that we've been talking about for 5 days now, the Cooper Kupps, the Robert Woods, guys who the beyond the box score, the analytics that show that they're some of the best wide receivers in getting open. If you make Matthew Stafford get rid of the ball quicker than he wants to, it takes away all of those edges that those guys have.
For sure. Absolutely. And there's two stats that are accounted for in the NFL that are probably more over, they're taken with a lot more weight than they should. Sacks and quarterback wins. Because it's quarterback wins, there's 22 guys on the roster, blah, blah. And then with sacks, Chandler Jones had over 10 sacks in perpetuity since he's been a Cardinal. And since 2017, they don't equate to wins. And you're right. I mean, they need to live in the backfield, and they've built something here where with the hands of Vance Joseph, and going back to last year, the blitz packages he put together, like he's gonna have to come up with some wizardry, some magicianship here in an effort to, you're right, get Matthew Stafford off his post, because he's more elusive in the pocket than people give him credit for, but he's also a tree stump at the same time.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, you're right. And if Cooper Kupp can run his routes, Cardinals are going to lose. The Cardinals are going to lose. Robert Woods is sneaky, runs great routes, and he can run short, intermediate, and deep routes. If Matthew Stafford can pick apart this defense, the Cardinals are going to lose by 2 touchdowns.
It's interesting too. It's like some people, it's like recent history, especially for Rams fans, they forget like Matthew Stafford hasn't been an above average, an over 500 quarterback for 2 straight seasons, and the Rams have got, they had a very disappointing season in 2019, and they nearly missed out on the post. They had to fight for their postseason lives in the finale against the Cardinals, where it was a CFL quarterback versus a AAF quarterback, and John Walford and Chris Streveler. And they won that battle, and then they became this like darling. But people forget, like they're a beatable team. They lost 6 games last year, right? They lost 7 the previous season. Matthew Stafford's lost a lot of games as well. It doesn't just mean that they're a match made in heaven, and then Matthew Stafford fixes and remedies all the issues that they had. There are soft spots on this roster.
Well, and there's one thing. There's one thing also that could work in the Cardinals' benefit, and this sounds like kind of a homerish thing. It's not. I mean, we see this in sports all the time. We'll see the mental aptitude, the mental toughness of the Rams. It's called the letdown game. They just played the Super Bowl champs at home, and they beat them. So, and they beat them handily. I mean, they beat them. They beat them handily. So the letdown thing is real. I'm assuming that's not going to be the case, but we've seen that little wrinkle to where we'll see it right away. I mean, we'll see what kind of angst the Rams come out with in the first quarter when the Cardinals play on Sunday. But I mean, nice little storyline to just keep in touch with in case they come out flat.
You know what's interesting too, if you look at the Rams statistically, and they've obviously been benefiting from the big play, and if you can limit the big plays, and as we heard from Matthew Stafford joining Eli and Peyton Manning during the Monday Night Football broadcast, that he loves broken coverages. He would much rather face a defense that's feast or famine, and they'll have some breaks, some busts somewhere. And the Arizona Cardinals certainly present that. But if they can limit that, if you look at their red zone numbers, they haven't been that impressive. They're about like 65, 66% as far as cashing in touchdowns in the red zone. If you can limit them as far as being around that number in this contest and taking away the big play, I think that benefits the Arizona Cardinals, who on the other side of that token are one of the better red zone teams as far as converting red zone opportunities into touchdowns because of what Kyler Murray presents. And you've got James Conner now, who's more that pound the rock kind of guy. I think that the Arizona Cardinals, if they can take care of business like they've been doing in the red zone, they're going to stay with this Rams team. They've just got to keep doing it.
But let me tell you what, that bootleg ain't going to work. I mean, like that's going to be the thing that they're going to defend against. So this is going to be
both defenses have to take that play out of the playbook or limit it.
Yeah, I mean, because you're looking at this is going to be the James Conner pounded up the middle, Kenyon Drake first and goal from the 5 game. Because Kyler Murray, like what we've seen a lot of is when Cliff gets cute in the wrong spots, it goes from first and goal from the 5 to second and goal from the 8. It's usually the end arounds, the jet sweeps, things like that, false starts. But Cliff has been good in the red zone, and you have 2 big targets, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green. I hope that they can use AJ Green a little bit more in the red zone, because that, even though he had a drop pass on a slant, I think it was last week. Either last week or the week before, he had a drop pass, but he's 6'4", he's got good hands. The Cardinals do not. Sorry?
It's just interesting that they just don't throw the ball from in close. I mean, I don't know if they watch too much film of the Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl and they just say, we're not going to mess with it. Or you just have Connor, you have Kyler Murray, his legs, and you just don't want to put up those jump balls. I don't know what it is. I saw that Kyler's like 3 for 7 passing in the red zone. Maybe it's just that maybe, in his height, maybe it's a limitation as far as him seeing over the bigs and making plays in that. And I don't know. but but they have been good. I even saw last week against the Jaguars, there was a play, it nearly went for a touchdown. It was Rondell Moore, who was in the backfield with Chase Edmonds and Kyler Murray, and he did a fake option pitch to Chase Edmonds. Like, I would have lost my mind if they did that play. That would have been unbelievable to see something that creative from Cliff Kingsbury, something that we've been starving for so long. But if it didn't work in the sense that he was just short of the goal line, they ended up pounding it in with James Conner. I like it, and I want to see more of it, as long as it works.
It just makes me nervous. Yeah, it just makes me nervous because, I mean, we've seen the other side.
Yeah.
And that's not being negative. Just watch the games. First and goal turns into third and goal from the 12 a handful of times over the last couple seasons, and you just want to maybe do meat and potatoes, throw to your better receivers. I hope DeAndre Hopkins gets targets. I don't care if Jalen Ramsey's there. Make Jalen Ramsey pick off a pass before you're nervous. That's one of the biggest fallacies in the history of the NFL. How one player can completely take away a sideline just by reputation. Like Deion Sanders, that was his career, taking away half the field. Like, you know what? Throw at Jalen Ramsey. Make him not get called for defensive holding or pass interference on the best receiver in the league. Make him do it. Mm-hmm. Make him do it. Like, that pisses me off. And it's rationally. That rationally pisses me off. I would love to see DeAndre Hopkins just eat on Sunday. That's going
to be one of those battles. That's what's just worth turning on. It's one of the many of them. We're going to get into who the players of the game could potentially be. Also, we're going to have our prediction. It's coming up, as well as, our Friday 5, where we're going to get into some spreads, some odds. So many big names in this game. It's like you could find Built Bar equivalent for Aaron Donald,
nice.
Kyler Murray. You can find all of them because, Aaron Donald's the best football player on the planet. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar on the planet. If you don't know, you're going to find out. You got to get yourself to the website, order yourself a mix box. Try one of their 9 delicious flavors. You can get a mix box, get a couple of them: coconut, raspberry, mint brownie, double chocolate, salted caramel, strawberry. I actually bought a Built Bar for the first time in a gas station. I found it. I'm like, I need to tell somebody at this gas station that they're doing things right. The fact that they carry the most delicious protein bar of all time. And they told me, the attendant told me I'm weird, or looked like I was weird. Anyway, you've got the nutritional value as well. 17 to 18 grams of protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180, 4 to 5 grams of sugar, 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Don't be a weirdo at the gas station. Just order yours online. Built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15. Get 15% off your order. That's using the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Bo Brack, Alex Clancy, hanging out with you on a Friday before week 4. We already had, which nobody would have said it was going to be a good matchup for Thursday Night Football. And Thursday Night Football keeps churning out some good games. And you had last night Jacksonville and Cincinnati that kind of continued that trend. That started off week 4, and then you've got some big matchups come Sunday, including the Cardinals and Rams. And then you have the Pats, of course, with the return of Tom Brady and all those storylines, Tampa Bay and the Pats. But let's start to look at some of these spreads. Arizona Cardinals continue to see that number shrink. It's sticking. It's kind of plateauing at 4.5 now. So the Arizona Cardinals, 4.5-point dogs. If you go with old betting kind of, I don't know, myth, lore, whatever it may be, it's pretty much even. If it's a 3-point edge for the home team, they're going to give the home team the edge as far as 3 points. Our guy Todd Furman said it's more about 2.5 now. But Arizona Cardinals just 1.5 off of things being even, Alex.
Yeah, so it started at 6. I feel like smart money doesn't come in until right before the game. So I wonder if this is a lot of just Kyler Murray love and DeAndre Hopkins love, and Arizona being one of the, just more fun teams to watch. They're a popcorn movie right now to watch. You never know what the hell's going to happen. And
most points per game in the NFL, they got to believe that they can keep up with the Rams points wise.
And the defense has been more of a sieve than we thought they were going to be through 3 weeks. I mean, they did hold Tampa Bay to a little bit lower than people thought they were going to score last week, but 4.5 makes me nervous. Like 6 is like sweet. You take it, they lose by a touchdown, but 4.5 it's nervous town.
But if you look at the 4.5, And then you look at the odds as far as just the money line. I mean, people are pretty confident that the Rams are just going to outright win, but 4.5, it seems like it's a pretty daunting number to everybody. So let's get into our Friday 5. So we've got the point spread at 4.5. You've got the total, which is jumped up to 55. My God.
Sweet Jesus. So that's 2 points. I think it started at 53. I think it opened at 53.
And when you listen to our guy Todd Furman, it's just a good baseline to check out that podcast, by the way. It's on our YouTube channel, Todd Furman, where he's just kind of going through, you need a lot of touchdowns to reach 55, especially at the NFL level. Like, you can't have Matt Prater out there in turning red zone attempts into field goals. So that's a big number. But I think if you're going to go on any game in the last couple of weeks for the Arizona Cardinals to reach that number, I think this is it, 55. When we did our predictions with Sosa Kremenjas of Locked On Rams, despite his bad math, I think we all got pretty much to that number. Mine was 32-29. So still, we're there with mine. And then with yours, what was your prediction?
I think I was 27-24.
Okay.
So I took the under and the Cardinals covering, even though I had the Rams winning.
Yeah, and I've got the Cardinals covering as well.
You have the Cardinals winning?
No, I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I didn't. And I think, if on the other side of this, like as far as the game that's going to be played at State Farm, I think that the Arizona Cardinals can have the edge. It's going to be very telling. This game is going to be the first one that's really going to give us a true sense who this Arizona Cardinals team is. I do feel like there's a path there. We outlined it. We think that if the pass rush can make Matthew Stafford uncomfortable and they can get enough stops, and as you mentioned, that Kyler Murray in this offense can be as money in the bank as they've been so far and not, disappear for a half, that they can win this game. This is a winnable game for them talent-wise. But if you're just asking me if you've got like the horrible scenario gun to my head, I'm probably going with the Rams. I'm just being realistic, and the Cardinals can change that narrative Sunday. And, I don't know if it's necessarily you and I eat crow. I think, a lot of Cardinals fans are worried of this game, and that if they win, if the Cardinals win, it's going to be a bigger win than it would be for the Rams. I don't think anybody will disagree with that.
No. But what we saw, and because normally, the key to victory is not let it get out of hand too early. Not go down 10-0, 13-3 at halftime, and then it's kind of all she wrote. That's kind of been the history, even though the offense had shown potency at times. What we saw against Minnesota, weren't they down 21-7? I mean, they were down quick. They were down quick, and they were down deep, 20-7. And they were down deep. Oh, that's right, because he missed the extra point. They were down deep, and they were down quick. And then they end up leading at halftime. So we see the resiliency. I'm not comparing the Rams to the Vikings, but you see they got smacked in the flipping mouth within the first 30 seconds of that game with the busted coverage from Byron Murphy. So we've seen resiliency that we haven't seen really from this team. Like it's just, that's big boy stuff. That's adult stuff. So keep it close. And if they have the ball within one score, 2-minute drill, you win. No matter what, that's a win. And if they can win this game, we've seen crazier things.
Yeah.
I mean, they can go out and put a whooping on this team. We have no idea what's going to happen.
I mean, they have one really big quality win on the season. The Rams do. They beat the defending Super Bowl champs, but they beat Andy Dalton and the Bears in the season opener, and they beat a winless Colts team. Let's not like somebody was saying, hey, these were top 10 defenses last year. It's like, this is 2021, dude.
Yeah,
who's playing in the secondary for the Bears? Name one person.
Fuller. Yeah.
So it's the Rams just as much as the Cardinals. Like, look, credit where credit's due. They beat the crap out of the Bucs, and that should scare you. It just happened. But at the same token, Tom Brady versus Kyler Murray, it's a very different animal. It's a very different beast, and both of them are scary in their own right. So,
and you'd much rather have this game on the road than at home this early in the season, because if you have it at home, there's added pressure. You have one less game at home than on the road. You'd rather have the litmus test be on the road, because if you can see if you lose by 17 burger at home in week 4, it's a lot different than losing by 17. Obviously, we don't think that's going to happen, but you'd much rather have this on the road. And it's pretty awesome that the way that it is, especially with San Francisco at home next week.
One last little bet that we've got going. What was it? What we were going to go with as far as
rushing yards for Kyler?
Rushing yards for Kyler Murray, and it was 33.
33.5.
33 and a hook for Kyler Murray. And man, in a game like this, I think it's possible for Kyler Murray to dial that up and get it done. Are you going to stick with where you were? Because we had this kind of same bet in week 1 where you ended up cashing and I did not. If you look at his games and his rushing totals, he had 20 in the first week, 31 in the next week, and 19 last week. All of those games, he did find the end zone, but that's not the bet. You going over or under 33?
I'm going to take the over this time because it's going to be by any means necessary for them to win this game. They were able to get away with it without him running the ball. I think they're going to need him to juice it up a little bit. You'll see maybe more design runs than we've seen so far, which has been pretty much null and void. So, yeah, I'm going to take the over here, even though it's a higher number than what we're used to, except for week 1. I'm going to hammer the over here.
Defensive player of the game for the Arizona Cardinals. I'll go first because I feel like you've been going first the last couple of weeks. I think Isaiah Simmons shows up in a game where it's an audience that in the afternoon on Sunday that are going to kind of be surprised because what they know about Isaiah Simmons was last year's Isaiah Simmons. He's going to make some plays. The front seven is going to give him an opportunity to maybe even get his hands on a football as far as a pick because Matthew Stafford might be checking down to his tight end. I like that. I like Isaiah Simmons, just his opportunities. Or, and now I almost won another one, but I keep breaking the rules. You go ahead with your defensive play.
You want to pick a coach? Do you want a cheerleader? You want the mascot? You can make all your damn rules you want. No, the answer is Budda Baker.
I almost said
Budda Baker.
Yeah,
it's going to be Budda Baker because seen and not heard most of the time for a safety is them doing their job, not Budda Baker. And he's been great. I mean, it's varying degrees of great with him. He's got to show that he's an all-pro safety on Sunday because I almost went Byron Murphy, but it's like, okay, Byron, you won Defensive Player of the Week last week. Do it again because that's what CB1s do. And you're going to be going up against the best receiver in the NFL through 3 weeks this year in Cooper Kupp. You're going to be shadowing him all day. But Budda Baker,
or Robert Woods,
pick your poison. I mean, Budda Baker needs to be the guy to be the metronome for this defense, especially if they're going to put together some blitz packages. He's going to have to be the guy to cover up the pieces when you have guys rushing the passer.
Yeah, that pass rush, though, it's very important. JJ, you've got hopefully he can rack up that first sack or be as just disruptive as he was in Jacksonville and Chandler Jones. The offensive side of the football, I'm saying it right now, it's got to be one of these receivers not named DeAndre Hopkins. As much as I'd love to see DeAndre Hopkins offer good old Jalen Ramsey some humble pie, I think that the smart move would be to get a guy like Christian Kirk, who's been, playing great in the slot. I think Christian Kirk can continue his contract year Christian Kirk status in this game. He's going to have a ton of opportunities. I was looking at that pick that Kyler Murray threw to open up the second half last week. It's because Christian Kirk was on a linebacker and he didn't see the safety. And if he's going to get matchups like that, continue to get matchups like that, I'll take it. I'll take number 13.
It's DeAndre Hopkins. This is the game. He's played. Deshaun Watson threw him the ball a lot in Houston, and he played Jalen Ramsey twice a year. Why can't it be now? Make Jalen Ramsey prove to you that he's the number one corner in football. I will take DeAndre Hopkins, 100 routes. I will take him to beat Jalen Ramsey at least 51 of those 100. So throw him the damn ball. If Jalen Ramsey picks you off, if he's eating your breakfast, fine, maybe look somewhere else. He's going to have single man coverage. They don't need to put a safety over the top because it's Jalen flipping Ramsey. Let Nuke eat. Please. What the hell are we waiting for? What are we waiting for here? You gave him $250 million. Throw him the ball. Please throw him the ball.
Leave your defensive and offensive players of the game in the comments. Plus your prediction. Let us know. And of course, join us at halftime. Our halftime show, Locked On Cardinals halftime show. We're going to be breaking it down. What went right? What went wrong? Will we be beside ourselves giddy, or will we be in just a rough spot? Got to tune in to find out. It's going to happen on Sunday afternoon. Make sure you're following on Twitter at LockedOnAZ Cards, and of course at Clancy's Corner and at BOBRACK. And betting on the NFL, betting on this game, it doesn't have to be a guessing game. Listen to the new Locked On Bets podcast hosted by your boy Q, handicapping expert Lee Sterling. Get your daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favored picks, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast brought to you by betonline.ag, wherever you get podcasts. Alex, anything else before this unbelievable matchup on Sunday?
Key to victory, score more points than the Rams. Take it to the bank.
It's brilliant. Just brilliant. There you go. All right. We will talk to you at halftime. Guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you then.